So I got a choice. I go Michelle Bachmann or Jonathan Alter. I'm sorry, as much as I enjoy talking about Michelle Bachmann, I'm going to go with Jonathan Alter. Jonathan from Newsweek, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ben. I'm very flattered that you chose me over the beautiful Michelle Bachmann. Whatever ridiculous, insane things come out of her mouth, I'm pleased to have been chosen over her.
The good news is that if you miss the insane thing that comes out of Michelle Bachmann's mouth, she's a representative from Minnesota. I mean, just wait 4 days, and she'll say something else ridiculous. And,
right, that's right.
Jonathan, you've written a piece on healthcare appearing in the August 31st issue of Newsweek, and I read the first paragraph earlier in the show. I want to read it again, and I'm sorry to the people who heard it the first time, and then I want to get you to talk about it because it's great. It symbolizes the problem, and then I want you to talk about why this is such an important issue and why we're missing the whole point about why it's important. Okay, United States has two parties, Jonathan writes, the Obama Party and the Fox Party. The Obama Party, he says, is larger, but it is unfocused, and its troops are whiny. The Fox Party, which shows up in mass to harass politicians, is noisy and practiced in the art of simplistic obstruction. As the healthcare debate rages, it's the party of sort of maybe yes versus the party of hell no. The yesers are more lackadaisical because they've forgotten the stakes. They've forgotten that this is the most important civil rights bill in a generation, though it is rarely framed that way. So, Jonathan, why is it the most important civil rights bill in a generation? And more importantly, maybe, why is it rarely framed that way?
Well, it completes the unfinished work of the New Deal and of the Great Society, and it ends discrimination against people who are sick. I mean, that's what all of these bills do. It outlaws what's called cherry picking based on pre-existing conditions. And, that's kind of antiseptic language, all that pre-existing condition talk, that distracts us from the fact that this is a huge anti-discrimination bill. And it makes it a crime, and not a crime, but it makes it illegal for any insurance company or any institution to say that because you may be ill, you won't be covered. And right now we have 50% of our bankruptcies in this country are medical bankruptcies, of personal bankruptcies. Medical bankruptcies, people who go bankrupt because they can't afford their medical expenses. This bill would end that, all versions of the bill. So what's happened is everybody's gotten distracted by a series of important issues, but that don't go at the moral imperative that is contained in the bill. I'm strongly for a public option, but the idea of rejecting any bill that doesn't contain a public option is foolish.
Well, Jonathan writes, you write in this, you're sure it's important to fight for a public option or a souped-up cooperative that can be made nearly as good, but your point is that, hey, anything else that we put in here, like maybe we have a cooperative, and then 5 years from now we're like, hey, you know what, this cooperative isn't quite working right, then we can revisit a public option. And we always, in the heat of these debates, act like this is the final imprint that we are going to make, but you're saying that what we basically need to do is make that first imprint and cover the basic issues so that we start a process by which, in your words, essentially, to paraphrase, we stop discriminating against the sick.
Right, and that's what Ted Kennedy did over and over again, is that he would fight as hard as he could for the best bill he could get, but the main thing was to get something and move the process forward, at least incrementally, or in this case, it'll be a giant leap forward, even if you can't get 100% or even 90% of what you want. And that's what the history of all the great legislation in this country is. If you look at the Social Security Act of 1935, which I studied up on when I was preparing my book on Franklin Roosevelt a few years ago, and a lot of the liberal New Dealers were very, very angry at Franklin Roosevelt because he settled for a bill that provided Social Security for fewer than half of all senior citizens. If you were black or a farmhand or a domestic worker, you worked for a small company, you didn't get any Social Security at the beginning. But he established the principle that if you were elderly, you had a guaranteed benefit from the government, and in the years after that, they strengthened it and fixed it. And the same thing will happen with health care. If we have a bill, it will be strengthened and improved in the years ahead. But the main thing is to establish this principle of universal coverage, of ending the fear of being uninsured, of losing your job and then losing your house because you get sick and need to pay for it. And once we do that, we will have a much more humane society. So my message, if I can be so immodest as to offer one for liberals, is get enthusiastic and excited about this bill. And even if we fall short of the public option, which I think would be very unfortunate, but even should that happen, this is a huge step forward for the country, and the only way we're going to make it happen is if we all really lean into this now and contact our representatives and senators, especially those who are wavering, and tell them to support a health care reform bill.
So those on the left who say, and there have been plenty who say that without a public option I can't support this bill, you think they're making a terrible mistake? Terrible,
historic mistake, and they are defying everything that Ted Kennedy, they're not defying what Ted Kennedy stood for, because he stood for things like a public option. What they're defying is the way Ted Kennedy was successful and effective in the Senate. And that was to never, ever draw lines in the sand that way. Never, ever say no bill is better than a bill that doesn't achieve everything that I want or that we want. The reason that Ted Kennedy has literally 500 major pieces of legislation, to his credit, in 47 years, is that he understood that politics is the art of the possible. And liberals must get this if they're going to be successful. It's just not, you can't say my way or the highway. That's the way the Republicans acted. We can't do that.
And you're also suggesting that in this bill, it's not only is it a mistake to say my way or the highway, but the part that we appear to be able to get is a principle that is a significant, you say, the biggest civil rights bill in a generation, that what we can get, again, protecting, ending discrimination against the sick, that all by itself is big enough. This is not some small little issue that we're settling for if we have to give up the public option.
Right, and also there's a lot of other things in there. There's a lot of money, for preventive health. There's a lot of the bill is long and has a lot of moving parts, and 90% of those moving parts that everybody agrees to and makes it uncontroversial, so nobody knows about it. But like 90% of this bill is really good. And yes, is it a problem that right now you have some entrenched interests that don't want to give the insurance industry more competition? Yes, that's a big problem in terms of paying for this bill. But that's a means to an end, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. And even if we fall short on providing more choices, and even if we don't ding the insurance companies as much as you and I would like, it still has an awful lot to recommend it.
Let me ask you, since you were bold enough to offer advice to the left, since you consider this such an important principle, and I think how would you frame this principle? Obviously, as usual, when it comes to framing, the left has missed the boat completely, and we're sitting there protecting ourselves against, no, there are no death panels. Please, there are no death panels. That's our idea of framing. How should we frame this principle? What is the phrasing that works here? What should we be talking about?
This is not my real area of expertise or anything, but I think it should be called the Kennedy Health Security and Anti-Discrimination Act of 2009.
Oh, I didn't.
We should focus on the fact that it's the extension of Social Security. It's health security, so people will not have to worry about what happens to them should they lose their job. They will not be subjected to medical bankruptcies or the winds of fate. And it's bad enough getting sick, and I do say this out of some personal experience. I was lucky when I got seriously sick that I had the resources and I had a job. But if I had lost my job and gotten sick, I would have faced a choice between selling my house to pay for the treatment or getting subpar a treatment and throwing myself on the mercy of, charitable institutions. And that you shouldn't have to choose between your health and your house. Everybody should be covered. And this bill does that. So I think the security part of this, and it takes a load off people's minds in this rough economy to know that if this bill passes, it's one less thing to worry about. If God forbid you lose your job, at least you won't have to worry about getting thrown off your insurance.
Yeah.
And so it's this kind of thing that I think right now, like people like Joe Lieberman, who discussed me on this, who said, "Oh, well, let's just wait longer." Well, we've only waited 70 years. Joe Lieberman saying, in the middle of a recession, we can't do this. We can't do this health care reform in the middle of a recession. And my argument is the middle of a recession is the exact time to be doing this because people are afraid of losing their jobs. So in the selling of this, we have to explain that it's because of the recession that there's an immediacy to this, that people should not have to worry about that. And I don't think the Obama administration has done a good job of making the recession an argument for health care reform.
Jonathan, I think you do yourself a disservice when you say you're not good at that, because you are good at that. That is a fantastic point, and a point that Democrats, of course, have been so, except for Democrats like Joe Lieberman, have been so hesitant to make. Somebody says, no, we're in a recession, wait longer. No! Recession, go now. This is about security and discrimination, and I think those are the words that we ought to be talking about. And one final question before we let you go, Jonathan, and thank you for the time. So Joe Lieberman wants us to wait longer because we're in a recession. Joe Lieberman, wait, push things down the road, don't act now, unless, of course, you're in a recount, in which case you think, no, let's concede. Bad for America. I couldn't wait to concede, but now, practical, let's wait. Jesus.
Right, that's great.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, well, Jonathan Alter, it's a great piece in the August 31st edition of Newsweek. It's an important piece. It is a principle that we ought to be talking about, and we shouldn't get bogged down in talking about the public option. Well, conceding, that's important, but that fight does not have to end at this bill. That fight can go on.
Right. And it is still possible to get a public option, Ben. I don't want people to think that I'm giving up on a public option. What I object to is not fighting as hard as we can for a public option. That's good. What I object to is drawing a line in the sand and saying, if there's no public option, we're against the bill. That is idiotic. It hurts people who are sick, and it is very much not in the spirit of Ted Kennedy.
All right. Jonathan Alter from Newsweek, as always, great talking to you. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks a lot, Ben.